12:06. Oh, and a bit. Dominic, holding the TV remote, like James Bond would hold a pistol. He walked across his living room, carrying it like James Bond holds his pistol, with his arms folded and the pistol facing up. And then he turned, aimed at the TV and pressed the button. The music started. Ding da dang, dang da dang, dang da dang da dang. And female figures in flames drifted across the screen. Dominic threw himself backwards onto the settee. His dream was soon shattered by his mum shouting from upstairs, "Dominic, turn that TV down. If you want to be an actor, you've got a blinking story to write for Monday. Oh, and I've left the pizza out for your tea." "Yes, Mum," he replied. He picked up the remote and adjusted the sound down. As he did so, he heard his parents coming down the stairs. They paused by the front door. He could hear it open, and his father called back at him. "It will be dark in an hour or so, so don't forget to bring the washing in off the line. And lock the back door. There have been some burglaries in this neighbourhood lately. Don't put any more wood on the fire. We haven't got much, and I don't want to waste it." Dominic replied, pointing the remote at him, if so turning his dad off. "Yes, Dad." The front door clicked shut. Dominic turned the sound back up and settled back into the settee. The commercial break came. He sat back for a while, thinking of how it would be like to be the future actor that played 007. Then suddenly he jumped up. "The washing!" he said to himself. Going into the kitchen, he picked up the washing basket, took it out to the garden and hastily filled it with the washing from the line. He took it back inside and put it down just inside the door. As he did so, he heard the sound of the movie starting again. Quickly, he went back into the lounge and flopped back onto the settee. The commercial break came and he went into the kitchen to microwave his pizza. It was getting dark, but the light of the under kitchen units, the cupboards and the microwave, he could just see enough to see what he was doing. He put the half-sized pizza in the microwave, set the time, poised his finger over the start button, squinted his eyes and said in a slurred Sean Connery accent, "You can't escape me this time, my friend." He pushed a button and made a squeak sound as though it was the last dying sound of the pizza. The ping sound signified his snack was ready. He took it back into the sitting room and settled back into the film. The film came to an end. It was late and he was thinking of going to bed. All thought of his story assignment had left him. He switched off the TV and sat in the fading light of the fire and the soft light from the kitchen. He may have fallen asleep for a while, but he was disturbed by a sound from the kitchen. Picking up the TV remote and holding it like a gun, he crouched down and looked around the door frame. To his surprise, he saw two men standing inside the kitchen, one of which was a big fella with shaven head, pumped up muscles and wearing a cling-tight t-shirt. Stood by him a smaller, skinny chap with long knotted hair. Hair said to Muscles, "That looks a tasty microwave. Should be an earner." Dominic ducked back, thinking, "I left the back door open. Oh dear." He paused for a moment to think. What would James Bond do? The phone is in the kitchen. My mobile's upstairs. They will hear me going upstairs, wouldn't they? He had an idea. I want to be an actor. There's my chance. He went to the fireplace, drew his fingers across the side of the flue and stroked them across his forehead and down his cheeks. He then picked up his Game Boy and DVD player, then boldly walked into the kitchen. Fair cop, he explained. I thought you were all out. I'll just leave these things and go. Please don't tell the cops. I'll need the money for my college fees. Muscle replied in a gruff voice. Well, it looks like we've stumbled on a burglar. What is the world coming to when someone wants to rip you off and steal all your things? What do you think we should do with this little ruffian, Mike? Harry, or Mike, replied in a mock-educated voice. How about we turn him in and allow us to have our tea in peace? Then Mickey, coming close to Dominic's face, changed his accent to a mock Dickinson criminal. We could do him in, or we could sling him out of our patch. One thing is for sure, fella, he said, pointing at Dominic's face. Lose that dirty face, 'cause it will get you arrested in the street. If it's obvious you is up to no good, and if you is going to be a burglar, you could best get good at it quick, or you won't be doing college, you will be doing time. Muscles interrupted. Come on, Mickey, let's leave him in it. There are lots more houses in the road, and we ain't got time for this amateur. They both went back into the garden. Dominic felt a bit shaken, but also a bit like James Bond. He watched to see them go over the garden wall, but not the way he assumed they had come, which is one garden wall away from the road, but on into the houses in the block. While he regained his composure, he thought a bit. What shall I do? Could call the police. Will they come with all their sirens blaring? If they do, the crooks will leave. Another plan is called for, he thought on. They must have a vehicle nearby. He shut the back door and locked it. He then went out the front door and walked round the corner, and there parked a short distance away was a van. He tried the door and it was not locked. On the floor was a key. In the back, all sorts of home electrics. He took the key and put it in the ignition, but not all the way in. He then just bent it a little bit. It would now go in. No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't go in. He put the key on the top of the back tyre. He then went back home and phoned the police. A short while later, there was a knock at the door. Dominic opened the front door. Stood there, police lady. You phoned the police, sir? She asked. Dominic replied, Yes, I did. I saw two men climbing over the garden walls. We've not had any reports of burglaries this evening, the police lady said. I don't suppose you have. They're happening right now. May I make a suggestion, he said. And what would that be, sir, she replied. Around the corner is a van full of home electrics. If you wait close by and got someone to drive your car down the road and sound the siren, I think they may well return to the van. You can then nick them. Or, by the way, the van key's on the top of the offside wheel. They will expect to find it on the driver's side floor. I bent it a bit. I'll talk to you later, she said. Meanwhile, I'm going to talk to my colleagues. Dominic shut the front door and went to watch the action from his upstairs bedroom window. A few minutes later, the sound of a police siren wailed out, and the sound of running and calling. The sound of commotion died away, and all went quiet. Then the door knocker sounded again. Dominic answered. The same police lady was there. You were quite right, sir, she said. The van was full of stolen goods, and we've apprehended the two gentlemen. They ran back to the van and we caught them in it. Apparently, they couldn't find the key, and when they did, the key was bent and wouldn't work. May I ask, how did you know about the van and the key? She paused and then continued. Do you know the gentleman we've arrested? Only that I saw someone climbing over the garden walls and thought they must be up to something. So I went for a walk and found the unlocked van with gear in it. I thought it must be unlocked for a quick getaway. So I bent the key and put it on the wheel in case they left before you got here. Police lady leaned her head to one side, frowned and said, That was good thinking, young man. We caught them in their van looking for the key. One of the plainclothes chaps gave them the key and they tried putting it in the ignition. Of course it wouldn't go. They are now in our custody. She turned and was about to leave, and then turned back. What was you thinking of doing when you finish your education? We could do with youngsters like you in the force. Give it some thought. As she was about to leave, she turned back and said, You know you've got soot on your face. She made her way up the garden path. Dominic's parents had just come back and were passing the lady. They turned to watch her go out the gate. What was that about? They both said. Oh, just some burglars, but they've caught them. Not here, I hope, said Mum. Did you bring the washing in? Have you done your homework? Oh, Mum. Yes, I did bring the washing in. And no, I've not done my homework yet. Oh, but I've got a good idea for a story. I'll write it tomorrow morning. What's it going to be called then? I think I might call it 006. As Dominic turned to go up the stairs to his room, his mother called, Oi, wash your face, it's dirty. He turned, he squinted at her and said with a slight Connery slur, Yes, Mum. That's the story.